Hi everyone, we're going to talk about the Unit 7 End of Unit Assessment Study Guide. So question 1 is going to be about the three sides of a triangle. And remember that the first two sides, or the two smaller sides, the sum of them have to be greater than the third side. So I'm going to turn on my drawing tools. So I know that sides 3 and 4 are the two smaller sides. There we go. My iPad's catching up. So 3 plus 4 is 7, and 7 is not greater than 9. So that means that it makes no type of triangle. So scalene would be all the sides are different. Equilateral, all three sides are the same. And a right triangle, well, we'd have to know something about the angles of the triangle, but we don't. But in this case, it would make no triangle because the sum of the two shorter sides is not greater than the third side. All right, they want us to consider the side lengths again. So again, I've got 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 is greater than 9. So I know that this number 1 will create a triangle. 12 is not greater than 12. So number 2 will not work. 12 is not greater than 13. So 3 will not work. 12 is greater than 8. So 4 will create a triangle. 12 is greater than 11.5. Not by much, but remember in those Exploragons, if you could see through it and you weren't forcing it, it made a triangle. So 5 was correct. So 1, 4, and 5 are all correct answers. So when you're doing this one, it's going to be like a hot spot, and you're going to have to select the correct number of questions. Raphael wants a candy mold that can hold at least 100 cubic meters of melted chocolate. Does this container meet that requirement? Well, they want it to hold that, so we're talking about volume. So volume equals the area of the base times the height. I just had a sneaking suspicion like my microphone wasn't recording. The area of the base in this case is a rectangle, so that would be length times width, and of course I multiply by the height. So I've got volume equals 5.5 times 4 times 4. I'm going to put all that in my calculator. And I get volume equals 88, and that would be centimeters cubed. So it does not hold at least 100 cubic centimeters, so this one does not meet the requirement. Layla drew a net of a cube, and she says that they want to know what the volume is of this net. Well, I know that a cube has a length, a width, and a height, and they're all going to be the same. So volume equals length times width times height. So volume equals 3.5 times 3.5 times 3.5. And I get my volume is 42.875. And for this one, it says in cubic centimeters. So centimeters cubed. All right, Brittany is mailing a package that's in the shape of a rectangular prism. It has two square faces that each have a perimeter of 30. So the height of the package is shown below. So I know a square has to have the same on each side. So I'm going to take 30 and I'm going to divide it by 4 so that all the sides are the same, right? Because the perimeter is 30, so 30 divided by 4 gives me 7.5. So then they want to know what's the volume. So I know volume is length times width times height. So I have 7.5 times 7.5, and then the height of this package is 40. So I'm going to multiply all that in my calculator. And I end up with a volume of 2,250, and it's going to be centimeters cubed. All right, what is the total surface area in square inches of the box? So I'm going to draw out my box. And I always draw out, it seems like, the same net, because that makes it easier for me. So I'm going to take this 10 and I'm going to put it at the top. And then I'm going to alternate the other two numbers. So I have 8 and 5. All right, so 8 times 10 is 80. And I'm going to circle it. 8 times 5 is, 10 times 5 is 50. 8 times 10 is 80. 10 times 5 is 50. And then the two sides that I don't have are 8 times 5, which is 40. And then this side is 40. Now you can use that formula, SA equals 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. If that's something that appeals to you, that is totally fine. However, that's not something I'm going to use because I'm never going to remember that formula. Obviously, I remember it because I'm a math teacher. But if I was 12 or 13 years old, I probably wouldn't remember it. I'm going to be more likely to remember to do this. So then I'm going to add up all the numbers that I've circled. So 80 plus 50 plus 80 plus 50 plus 40 plus 40. And I get 340 inches squared. Number 7, it says an aquarium in the shape of a rectangular prism is 6 feet wide, 8 feet long, and 4 feet tall. A water hose can fill the aquarium in 45 minutes. At what rate does the water flow through the hose in cubic feet per minute? Well, I'm going to figure out how many cubic feet this thing holds. So I know that I'm going to do volume equals length times width times height for a rectangular prism. Now remember, this is for a rectangular prism only. I don't want anybody getting the idea that that's for all shapes. So 6.5 times 8 times 4, right? And I got a volume of 208 feet cubed. So then I know that that fills in 45 minutes. So I'm going to set myself up a little table because I'm noticing that there's a right here. So I've got cubic feet and I've got minutes. So I know that 208 cubic feet in 45 minutes, and I want to know per minute, so in 1 minute. So I'm going to divide by 45, divide by 45. So 208 divided by 45 means that it's 4.62 repeating. So I would guess it's 4.6 cubic feet a minute. Now, in the problem that you're going to do for your test, it's going to work out perfectly. It's going to be a magical problem, you know, where there's not a repeating decimal. But obviously, I've done this very quickly, and I've not made sure that my numbers work out perfectly. But it's the same concept, so you're going to still divide by the number of minutes. All right, you've got a rectangular prism, and it has a square base with an area of 169 square centimeters. The height of the prism is 15. They want to know what is the total surface area in square centimeters. So I'm going to draw out my net. Now, it looks like a cube, but it's not, because it tells me the area here is 169. And I have to think, okay, what number times itself is 169? So I know 12 times 12 is 144. So what's 13 times 13? 169. So I know the length is 13 and the width is 13. So I'm going to put 15 here, and then I really don't have to alternate because it's the same number all the way down. So I'm just going to do 15 times 13, and I get 195. So all my big rectangles are going to be 195. Now technically they already told me what this rectangle is. It's 169. But let's prove it, because I'm going to do 13 times 13, and I get 169. And I know this side's also going to be 169. So my total surface area will be 1,118 centimeters squared. All right, we got a square pyramid, and they want to know, they're giving us the slant height, and I didn't give you the bottom question, but they want to know what the surface area is. So I'm going to draw out my net. And I know that it's 6, 6, and I know this is 10. So I know the area here is 36 because it's a rectangle, so 6 times 6 is 36. And then for my triangles, I'm going to do base times height divided by 2. So 6 times 10 is 60, divided by 2 is 30. It's going to be the same for all of my triangles. I'm going to add up all my circled numbers and make sure I include that 36. So I get 156 inches squared. Question number 10, they want the volume of the rectangular prism. So volume equals the area of the base times the height. So in this case, the area of the base is a rectangle. So length times width times height. 6 times 11 times 13. And I get a volume of 858 inches cubed. All right. Which measure of the rectangular prism would be most helpful in determining the amount of wrapping paper Sam needs? Well, the surface area is what I would need. Which would be helpful determining the amount of tissue paper to fill the box? Well, that would be the volume if I wanted to fill it up. And the measure that to determine the amount of ribbon to go around the box, I would need the perimeter. All right, I have a triangular prism. So they want to know the surface area of it. So I'm going to draw my net. I know that I've got 12, and then it looks like I got a 7, a 4, and a 7, and this looks like it's 6. So 12 times 7 is 84, 12 times 4 is 48, 84, and then 6 times 4 is 24 divided by 2 is 12. This is also 12. So then I'm going to add all my circled numbers up. And I get 240 centimeters squared. What's the surface area of the pyramid? So again, I'm going to find the area of the rectangle. So 15 times 12, I get 180. And then I'm going to do 12 times 8 divided by 2. And I get 48. And I'm going to get it for this triangle and this triangle. Because this is a rectangular pyramid, I know that the slant height's going to be different on either side. So then I'm going to do 15 times 6 divided by 2. And I get 45 and 45. So then I add all my circled numbers. And I get 366 inches squared. All right, triangle has two sides that measure 3 and 12. Given the sum of the lengths of any two sides of the triangle must be greater than the length of the third side, what is an appropriate range for C in the length in units for the third side? Well, to find the third side, I'm going to subtract the two numbers, and then I'm going to add the two numbers because that will give me the range. So if I subtract 12 minus 3, I get 9. So 9 is the smallest length for the side I could possibly have. Because whatever the number is, it has to be 3 plus 9, and it's going to have to be greater than that. So my lowest number is C has to be greater than 9. So it has to be, can't be A, and it can't be C. Because if it's anything less than, if it's 9 or less than 9, it won't work. So technically that also excludes D because it can't be equal to 9. So let's check about greater than. Okay, so 3 plus 12 is 15. Well, if 15's my it has to be less than 15 because 15 has to be my biggest side. And it has to be less than 15 because anything over 15 would make 12 then my largest side. So you add the numbers together to get the longest side, you subtract the numbers to get the shortest side, and then that's your range. All right, which set of measurements forms a unique triangle? Well, if I have the angle measurements, I know that that can form many triangles. So I can eliminate A and B right off the bat. Then I have 2 side lengths and 2 included angles. Well, I know that if I have an 180 degree included angle, an included angle is inside, well, they're only 180 degrees inside the triangle. So, and that can't be one angle. That would make it a straight angle, which would not be a triangle. So it has to be C. If you have any questions or you need help, please let me know. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.